On Monday, February 5th, Baltimore legislators call for the state of Maryland to pass a $15 minimum wage bill by 2023.
We already have Montgomery and Prince George's and D.C. neighbors who have $15 bills and laws in place. This will help to cover the entire rest of the state of Maryland in this state election year, and that's one of the reasons it's a great opportunity.
Bills have been introduced in both state houses, and there's a public hearing on February 20th. Last June, the mayor vetoed legislation to raise Baltimore's minimum wage to $15 an hour, breaking a campaign promise to sign such legislation when it reached her desk. Her argument at the time was that jobs would leave for surrounding jurisdictions. Citing neighboring Virginia and Pennsylvania's $7.25 minimum wage, I asked her if a similar argument could be made by opponents of a statewide measure. She didn't really answer my question.
Be real clear. We're talking about a 5-year period, and I think that's the misnomer. You know, if we don't raise it, the federal government is eventually going to raise it anyway. And so we've got to be real about this. We're talking about a 5-year period marching toward $15 an hour. And as you heard SEIU say, I mean, some folks really do deserve to make it today. But we're not worried about people crossing the line. We're worried about what happens in our own state. This is one of the richest states in America, and that's real. And so we're saying corporate tax cuts are giving corporations and companies wonderful breaks. And so we're saying that the people in our state deserve to be compensated properly.
Afterwards, I asked City Councilman Chris Burnett if 15 by 2023 is enough.
I think it's a real argument. I mean, at 32,000, it's certainly still, when we look at people who are living in poverty right now, by 2023, it's not ideal. But the flip side, I'd say, is that for small businesses and medium-sized businesses, they do need time to adjust, and so we need time to allow them to phase in, to adjust their business model to fit it. But like I said, it will go up every year hereafter. So if it passes, we'll finally get to a place that people will make a livable wage.
Do you think supporters would have a better case if there was a $15 minimum wage in Baltimore and the bill hadn't been vetoed?
I think that would be where I want to be. I mean, I was a big supporter of the bill here on the council. Like I mentioned, I represent West Baltimore, and I've talked to people who live and work in the streets and work with people in Safe Streets programs, and they've said, like, there's a direct link between the economics of Baltimore City and the violence in Baltimore City. And so I think there is a valid argument to be made that we need to do this quickly. We need to do it now. We should have done it last year, but statewide would be ideal.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Check back at therealnews.com for all of our coverage of minimum wage fights across the country and in Maryland. We'll be covering the public hearings on February 20th. This is Jessel Noor.